It is raining outside the window. Looking at the window, I can still see a dim light trying to break through the gray, dense clouds. But his attempts are in vain. It seems that even a bird cannot penetrate through the low, gloomy sky if it decides to take off in nasty weather. This gray milky shroud has spread over the town for a long time, which means that the rain will not end. Will she get wet? Sitting at home in a comfortable chair with a glass in hand, it's easy to talk about how she is feeling. Maybe she was already completely wet and freezing. The funny curls are wet and stick to her pretty face unpleasantly, as she does when she takes a bath or swims in the lake. I always took them off my face to look into her delightful eyes. To be honest, in moments like this, her hair is usually not as pretty as it looks. But I never tell her about it. I wanted to include some funny song, but none comes to mind. It is sad and incomprehensible. Either this weather is to blame for everything or she. I saw her standing in the street, right under the lush lilac, which we planted together many years ago. We laughed like crazy when our little tree opened the first leaves. She danced funny around him like a Christmas tree, and I shouted a melody, trying to catch the beat of her movements. That evening I was very hoarse, and she was so tired that I had to carry her home in my arms. We didn't regret anything, we had fun. I would never have thought that an ordinary tree can give so much happiness. Stupid and funny. But next to her, everything was different, in a special way. And an ordinary tree, which we carefully planted in the ground, made our relationship even stronger. The higher and more magnificent the lilac became, the stronger our love was. The scheme is strange, it looks like nonsense, but it was exactly that, although you may not believe me. This lilac brought us closer, as, probably, a son or daughter should have brought us closer. But, alas, we could not have children. I think we would be good parents, but someone upstairs didn't want to test that. When I saw her under our tree, I did not rush outside to wrap her in a warm blanket and take her home. I went to the kitchen and poured myself a whiskey. I felt a cold, sharp rod thrust into my chest. He was so cold that he made me cringe and flinch. When I poured the whiskey, my hands trembled so that they could bang on the drum, knocking out a loud melody. But I couldn't bring myself to go outside and help her. Could not. I love her. I love very much. Our love is much stronger than the drink splashing in my glass. And she loves me. I feel it. I would not use high, pompous words about the connection between us. I would say that I feel her love because I know it. Do you need to know that the sun is hot if you feel its warmth? Do you really need to know that the wind is cold when you feel how it pierces every cell of your body? I sit at home and feel so lousy, like I betrayed her. Her smile, her look, the scent of her body and her hair. Her love. If my double appeared from the past, at least 1 year younger than me, he would definitely beat me. I would not resist, because he would be right. He loves her as I love her, but he still does not know the whole unpleasant story that has happened over the past year. When the doctor said that she was terminally ill, I yelled at him violently. I told him that he would not dare to joke like that and that a medical degree would not protect him. I stood in front of him, choosing the most vile words I knew, and he listened in silence. I came up with some curses on the go, hoping to offend him as painfully as possible. Perhaps he understood that my cry was a cry of powerlessness and despair. She is terminally ill. 3 words that come together in such a terrible phrase. Each of them hit my head like a sharp nail. These words were enough for me to yell at an innocent person. I quickly fizzled out. "Do you know, doctor, how we met?" I sat down on the sofa and lowered my head. I knew that I would continue to speak even if the man in the white coat answered no. I only asked because it is customary to ask. It was not necessary to wait for an answer to this question, as it is not necessary to wish for health when someone sneezed. But the doc didn't mind. Adjusting his glasses on his snub nose, he sat down in his chair. The weather was very bad that evening. It was so cold outside that all decent people either stayed at home or took a taxi. But bad weather never stops bad people. She almost ran home. As I said, it was cold so that you could take a leisurely stroll. She did not want to take a taxi. She told me later that she thinks taxi drivers are worse than robbers. But it wasn't cars with bright yellow checkers on the roof that she had to be wary of that evening. There were 2 of them. Like 2 shadows they appeared before her, emerging from some smelly, dark alley. One smelled creepy of booze, the other cackled loudly when he saw her. Maybe the guy was just a merry fellow and liked to laugh, but then he did not seem like that to her. They came close to her, and the one who was more or less cheerful muttered something to her. She described how she felt his huge arms wrapped around her waist. As she later admitted to me, his touch was just as disgusting. I heard her scream. I walked down the street, not really knowing where and why. 15 minutes ago I was at a bar, where I filled my lungs with tobacco smoke and my stomach with strong, intoxicating drinks. It was a bad day. My head was full of thoughts that buzzed like a swarm of bees. But when I heard her thin voice, my thoughts scattered. I started looking around, looking for her with my eyes, and finally saw them. The big man had already hugged her tightly, like an armful of straw, and dragged her into the alley. The second chuckled cheerfully, joking some vulgar jokes. After listening, I realized that they would definitely not take her to a cozy restaurant. I rushed to them. In a matter of seconds, he crossed the road and pounced on the one that was larger. At that moment I did not think that I was inferior to him both in height and in size. I hit him on the back of the head with all my might. The fist burned with pain. It flashed with such a bright flash that the next moment I thought, my brush will never be able to hold a spoon or a pen again. The big man gasped and, pressing against his head, grabbed the back of his head with his hands. Hopefully at that moment he thought he was hit with a baseball bat. I wanted to believe it. A second blow with the other hand hit him in the ear. From such a blow, he should have loudly clapped in his ears. Maybe or maybe not, I didn't know that. All I knew was that I really wanted to teach a lesson to these scoundrels who treat a girl so unkindly. The guy was already running down the alley, not looking back, when the third blow again hit the round bald head of the big man. The bones cracked like planks in a fracture. With the whip, my hand slid over my body, but there was no strength left. I could still do a couple of accurate lunges before this huge carcass had to swallow me, demolish, crush and press into the asphalt. But that did not happen. Perhaps the bully was scared that his friend ran away so quickly. Maybe my punches still pissed him off. But he, staggering a little, rushed to where his friend disappeared a second ago. I stood there breathing hard. The pain increased. Gradually my brushes were seized by the feeling that I was slowly dipping them into hot coals. But that was far from real pain. Moreover, in front of me, clinging to the cold gray wall, she stood. When I rushed to help, I didn't know she was so beautiful. Trembling, standing in confusion and bewilderment, she looked at me with sky blue eyes. When I looked at this fragile creature, which shuddered from any rustle, I felt in my soul a feeling that was stronger than the pain in my hands. No, they weren't stupid butterflies fluttering in my stomach, but I felt much better. Why did I tell the doctor this particular story? All my life I thought only of myself. A damn selfish man in his 30s who doesn't even like his own reflection in the mirror and doesn't know the color of his eyes. I didn't give a damn about everyone was alien to me. But there, in the alley, I met someone who needed my protection. She needed her, I saw gratitude in her eyes. Then I did not know yet that we would be together. But even then, I swore to myself that I would never take offense at her and would always protect her. Doc, I raised my head. I bet at that moment my eyes were glistening with tears. I have vowed that I will always protect and help her, and I will keep my vow. Alas, inventors these days are not resourceful enough to invent a cure for her disease. It's a strange thing. We study space, other planets, but have not yet figured out ourselves. Life is such a fragile thing as a piece of crystal. In comparison with the life of a person, it seems to be a durable material. Operations, procedures, consultations, therapies, again operations, at some point our life with her turned into Groundhog Day. We woke up and knew what awaited us, and, realizing this, I slightly shuddered. Useless. Every day I understood this more and more. As a shortcut, the word stuck to me. The days were blackening so fast that in the end there should have been one darkness all around, and I walked into this darkness, because every day it only got worse. Hope dissolved like an aspirin tablet in a glass of water. I was losing strength to fight for her life. The moment I was about to fall to my knees and call for help from someone I never believed in, I learned about rings. The old man at the bar told about the miraculous rings that help keep loved ones and relatives. He said so. You want to save your beloved woman, you need these rings. I did not believe any legends. But if I was already ready to believe in the existence of the Almighty, then I could believe in the power of these rings. To loud music that vibrated even the air in the bar, he told me where to find them. I listened attentively to the old man whom I had met 10 minutes ago over a beer. India. Land of legends and fables. This country is so saturated with different legends that you don't know what is true and what is not. It is impossible to believe in the myths that envelop this country, and it is impossible to believe that these are just myths. Did you know that shaking your head from side to side in India means yes? Or that the color of mourning in this country is not black, but white? I didn't know that until I bought a small pocket guide to India from a bookstore. Throwing my backpack on my shoulders, stuffing a plane ticket into my pocket, I carefully studied this book while getting to this country. Never in my life have I read anything so attentively. I won't say that the guide helped me a lot. From the book I learned that Agra is located in the north of India, and that from New Delhi, where my plane landed, this city could be reached by train. Where exactly to look for rings in this ancient, tangled city, it was not said in the book. And this could not be said, since the rings are just a legend. I had to walk more than one narrow, dirty street. I huddled in cheap motels for more than one night, listening attentively to the conversations of the angry neighbors at night. I tried to explain myself with many of them, tried to show what I was looking for. Some did not understand me or pretended not to understand. Others tried to leave me faster, barely knowing what I was looking for. I saw how the faces of people changed when they heard about the rings. Their dark olive faces stretched out in surprise, and their eyes were so frightened that the smiles from their toothless mouths immediately disappeared. I found them in one basement, where daylight did not penetrate. They showed me an old man. By the light of oily lamps, a dry old man was sitting, hung with multicolored rags. His wrinkled face, which was covered with terrible sores, did not change a bit when I entered. He seemed to be asleep. But it only seemed so. As soon as I said Amar Atma, he opened his eyes. His eyes, filled with magical power of attraction, bound me. I felt like I had turned into what the old man pretended to be a few seconds ago, into a statue. The muscles were subordinated to his gaze, thoughts were waiting for his orders, the soul wanted to obey his will. Apku Amar Atma ki avashue Katanai. Such a strange set of incomprehensible words to me. I didn't know what he was saying, but I just nodded back. Then he quickly came to his senses and shook his head from side to side. Thanks to the guide. He got up from the carpet he was sitting on. A turban dangled merrily on his head. He disappeared by diving into one of the many low passages. In vain I tried to strain my eyes to see something inside this strange gloomy room. The old man withdrew so silently that it seemed to me that he did not touch the ground when he walked. There was dead silence all around, although behind me the noise and voices of the restless streets of Agra should have been heard through the open door behind me. Legends and myths roam the city, passed down from generation to generation. Have I also become a part of such a legend? Have you tried to find out what you shouldn't have known? And don't these legends keep such secrets, knowing which you can die? Or maybe everything is much simpler. I was brought here to rob. Vile shivers ran down my back, arms, neck, and reached the very roots of my hair. I remembered reading in travel guides that India is not the most prosperous country. Tourists need to guard their wallets more carefully. I thought that no matter how I had to prove with my fists and shouts that I was not the best option for a robbery. My fists, of course, are what you need. The big guy from whom I saved my wife will prove it. But what if they have weapons? The old man frightened off my sad thoughts. He also silently emerged from the darkness, as he plunged into it. He came close to me. So much so that I could see every ugly sore on his face. He smiled broadly. Have you ever seen a tiger smile while looking at its lunch? I did not see. But I'm sure the old man's smile was like that grin. There was nothing cheerful or kind in his stretched lips. He smiled, and I thought about how not to scream. Looking intently into my eyes, he extended his thin hand to me. I looked at her with difficulty and saw a pair of rings in my outstretched palm. I immediately realized that these were the same rings. I don't know how, but I was sure of this, as I was sure that the water was wet. I have never seen such rings with ornate, I think, magical designs on the rims. How many? I said in perfect English. At that moment I poorly realized that we are from different worlds and understand each other no better than a stone understands a tree. Bilhnulna he hissed, still terribly funny. I grabbed the rings from his hand and quickly ran out of this gloomy basement. As I flew back home, I kept thinking about that old man. Why did he give me the rings just like that? We were completely strangers to him. And we saw each other for the first and last time in my life. And how did we understand each other? Or was it not necessary to understand? Maybe he wanted to get rid of the rings as soon as possible. As soon as I arrived, I immediately went to the hospital. God, how she has changed. I was gone for about 3 weeks, and it seemed that I had been absent for an eternity. Her face had changed so much, so dry and aged, that at first I did not recognize her. For a moment it seemed to me that it was the face of an old man who gave me the rings. But when she slowly turned her head in my direction, when she opened her eyes and looked at me, the vision was gone. I rushed to her. Kissing her dry palms, with trembling hands, I gently took her ring finger. I have to help her. I promised to protect her. Pounded in my head as I clumsily tried to put the ring on her. I looked at the ring like a child who looks at the carpet in the room and believes that it is a magic flying carpet. After several unsuccessful ones, the ring slipped onto her finger and I felt a little hope in my soul. She smiled. As it turned out for the last time. Legends can be understood in different ways and one must be able to understand them. I did not understand everything as it should have been, for which I paid. When I looked at her lifeless body, I could not hold back tears. I cried not only because I had lost her forever, but also because I believed in the magical power of the rings. Instead of spending my last days with her, I ran through the streets of an unfamiliar city in search of hope that did not exist. I am not the first, I am not the last. All people believe in magic, because very difficult days are coming. Everyone wants a little of this magic to help them. It didn't help me. More precisely, no, it did not help me the way I wanted it. When I looked out the window and saw her under the tree, the earth disappeared from under my feet. She stood there in exactly the same dress in which she was buried. Her face became younger again, but there was not even a drop of that girl whom I loved and loved so much. She left this world, I understood that, looking at her. Only her shell stood under the tree, soulless and lifeless. Her eyes, her nose, her mouth, they did not have her life charm. Now you understand why I didn't run to her? And I sit in an armchair, almost finishing my whiskey and see that our tree no longer has her. Now I can hear someone scratching very quietly at the front door. There have never been mice in the house, but I can clearly hear someone's rustling on the porch. And then I hear someone's quiet scream, or wheeze, or whisper. Maybe this monster is calling me. Difficult to disassemble. There is a knife next to me. I don't know whether he is to me or not. I cannot find any other protection in the house. She will get to me, I know that. It goes in the same ring as on my finger. I looked at my ring. When she was gone, I tried to take it off. But it was not filmed. All attempts were in vain. It stuck to me like a leech. I hear a thud at the door. Then another. There was a crackling sound. I was pretty sure she could handle the door. I glanced at the ring again. Yes, she will definitely get to me. What she will do to me is unknown to me. When they put me in my own grave, I won't lie there for a long time either. Subscribe to the channel not to miss new stories.